2.4 Problem 14 Discussion. A sum of 1000 is deposited every year at 8% simple interest. Calculate the interest at the end of each year. Do these interest amounts form an AP? If so, find the total interest at the end of 30 years. Okay, it's a little tricky problem, but anyway, let's mark it. Yearly 1000 rupees is deposited. Interest rate is 8%. Okay, and you're asked to find the total interest after 30 years, at the end of 30 years. And we want to know whether the interest amount forms an AP. So this is a key here, right? So what does it mean? Every year they are making a deposit of 1000 rupees. For the first year, the principal will be 1000. For the second year, the principal will be 1000 plus 1000, 2000. Third year, it will be 2000 plus 1000, 3000, it goes on. So the principal is going on increasing by 1000 rupees every year because you are depositing 1000 rupees. The same will happen for the interest. So interest also will be increasing year on year basis. So we need to first calculate the interest for 3 or 4 years and see whether it's an AP. Then if it is an AP, use appropriate AP formulas to calculate the total interest at the end of 30 years. Okay, this is the broad idea about the problem. Let's work it out. Yearly deposit is 1000 rupees, rate of interest is 8%, and we are asked to calculate at the end of the total interest at the end of 30 years. Now, basically the first question is we have to find whether it is an AP or not. To find whether it's an AP or not, you have to, which means you have to find few numbers in the series. Only when you do that, you'll be able to check whether it is an AP or not. The condition for the AP is D equal to T2 minus T1, and that's equal to T3 minus T2. If it is an AP, then you want to find S30, the sum of 30 terms for the interest rate, actually interest amount. Okay. So let's list out all the formulas. The sum of 30 terms in an AP series is given by n by 2 into 2a plus n minus 1 into d. Right, and we don't know d, we only know n is 30, and we also don't know a, it's not given correctly, it should be also read, so this is also not known. And do we know d? D also is not known, actually this also must be read. We don't know t2 nor t1. Okay, all these things are not known. So the first thing is that we have to first find the AP. And how do you find the AP? You can find the AP using I equal to PNR by 100. When you put the amount as 1000 rupees and n equal to 1, n is always equal to 1 because you are calculating interest for every year. So for the first end of the first year, the principal is 1000 rupees, n is 1 and r is 8%. So you will calculate the interest, that will be A. Then for the second year, the principal will become 1000 and 1000 because second year beginning you are deposited another 1000 rupees. So the principal will be 2000. So use that and get one for interest rate. For the third year, it will be 2000 plus 1000, 3000 rupees because you have made 3 consecutive installments, right? So 3000 will be the principal. Using P as 3000, calculate the interest. Then that is the series of interest amount. Okay. Now then there you check whether it is an AP or not using this formula T2 minus T1 and calculate T3 minus T2 and see whether they are equal. Okay, if they are equal, then they form an arithmetic series. Once you have the arithmetic series, you will know the first term, you know the common difference, then it is simple and straightforward to calculate the total interest amount. Anyway, let me list the steps. Calculate the interest using I equal to PNR by 100 for the first, second and third year. For the first year, the n is always 1 because you are finding yearly interest, right? For the first year, principal is 1000. For the second year, principal will be 2000. For the third year, the principal will be 3000 because you have made 3 successive 1000 rupees. Okay. So that's how you'll have to calculate the interest. Then check whether the interest amounts forms an arithmetic progression using D equal to T2 minus T1. Actually, it's a mistake. It's not only T2 minus T1, you have to also find T3 minus T2. So at least 2 differences must be equal. Okay. Please write that. I will make correction later. So D is equal to T2 minus T1. That must be equal to T3 minus T2. If they are both the differences are equal, then it is an arithmetic progression. Then you will have the value of A, you will have the value of D, you know N is 30. So substitute all these values in this formula and calculate the total interest. Okay. So if you have understood the problem, please try it on your own, come back and check. If you have not understood, don't worry, please go through the solution. The solution. Actually it's not A, it's a yearly deposit. Okay. It's misleading here, it's not A. Okay, never mind. So interest I is equal to PNR by 100. For the first year, interest will be 1000 into 1 into 8 is the interest rate divided by 100. So that gets you, this will go, these two zeros will get cancelled, so 810, 80. Second year interest will be, first year you paid 1000, second year you paid another 1000 rupees at the beginning. So the principal will be 2000. So 2000 into 1 into 8 divided by 100, that is 160. Third year will be 3000 into 1 by 8 by 100, so it will be 240. So what are the interest amounts received? 80, 160, 240. And this is the arithmetic series for which you have to calculate the sum. Okay, that's what I told you. This is not A, it's a mistake here. Yearly deposit is 1000 rupees. This is the arithmetic progression for which you have to calculate, because you asked total interest, right? This is the arithmetic, and they say do these interest amounts form an AP. So this is the interest amount. Now we need to check whether these interest amounts form an AP. Okay, so how will you find 160 minus 80, T2 minus T1, that is 80. T3 minus T2, 240 minus 160, that is again 80. So T2 minus T1 equal to 80, T3 minus T2 equal to 80. So then it forms an arithmetic progression, and D is 80. So this is the key. This is how you need to find. Let me repeat. So you use I equal to PNR by 100 and calculate the interest for the first year. The only trick here is for the first year, the year is always 1, because you are finding interest for every year, right? So year will be always 1. R is always 8. The only difference is that P will be going on changing. For the first year, principal will be 1000 rupees, because the beginning of the year you deposited 1000 rupees. Then second year beginning, you are depositing another 1000 rupees. So the principal will become 2000. For the third year, it will become 3000. It goes on. That's the only trick you will have to be careful about. Now you got the arithmetic progression, you got A, you got D. What else do you need? I think that's all about it. So we need to substitute A equal to D. A equal to 80, D equal to 80, and N equal to 30 in this formula. So what will happen? This will get you sum will be equal to N by 2, that is 30 by 2, 2 into A, that is 2 into 80, plus N is 30, so N minus 1 is 30 minus 1, into D, D is again 80. So this will become 82, 760, 29 into 80, that is 2320. The sum of this is 2480, that multiplied by 15 gets you 37,200. So the total interest amount received in the 20 years is 37,200. You got it? So let's quickly recap. As I said, the key is the principal goes on changing every year. It increases by 1000 rupees. So using I equal to PNR by 100, calculate the interest amount for 3 years and check whether it forms a AP series using T2 minus T1 and T3 minus T2. If it forms an AP series, then you have the value of A, you have the value of D, then use that in this formula, and N is 30 years. So use all the three variables, the value of the three variables in this formula, and calculate the total interest amount. Okay. I hope I made it clear for you. If not, please go through it one more time. If you go through once or twice, the concept will become clear. Okay. Thanks for watching this video.